Alright, welcome in everybody. My name is Letiredd, content creator over on Twitch, and I mainly stream Star Citizen. And today we are reacting to another Inside Star Citizen called Strategic Reserves. As always, for you Frenchies, if you have any questions, need something translated, don't hesitate to ask. And for the rest of you, well, enjoy my commentary, or not. With that, let's just jump right into it. No transitions, no nothing. Let's just react. So let's see what they have for us this week. I haven't watched it yet, so I'll discover this with you guys and gals. I don't really know what they're gonna say. Oh God, no! Stop right there. Moving on. Let's see what they have for us this week.
Are you happy with yourself?
Over the moon. Ecstatic with myself.
Their armor was the same with a color difference. There was a mission where we told you to go kill slicer supplies that was the exact same when we told you to go kill frontier fighter supplies.
The data pads I placed around Stanton as well, telling you, giving you hints that maybe something was going on. I think this is a great kind of PSA to read your contracts from now on. Maybe I hid them a little too well. Sorry.
Yeah, because I had no idea. Did anybody know there were data pads with info and lore? I had no clue.
By now, you will have realized that the frontier fighters weren't exactly who they said they were. Or, in other cases, they were exactly who they said they were.
Frontier fighters were specifically designed to show players that we can mess with their morals via this narrative storytelling.
Frontier fighters were the ones who staged the attack on Stanton, posing as slicers to cause an uproar about Pyro, to stage a war on Pyro, to get rid of the criminal gangs that are there.
It was
I just want to point this out because it's the first thing that jumps out at me. There is a really bad disconnect between the devs, management at CIG, and us, the players. Am I the only one that feels like there was really very little lore or storytelling around this? Like, I understand that these devs in their head, it's like, oh, we tried to create this whole thing, but for us as players, like, all we get is the feature-full experience, and we don't really notice any of that. So at what point are they just being lied to at CIG? They just get this internal memo every day saying, everyone thinks you're awesome and everything you're doing is fantastic. Keep it up. And they just assume that players are really happy. Are they not on Spectrum? Did anyone know about extra lore and like this narrative, like messing with our morals? I don't think anyone messed with anyone's morals in this event. And it's like, no, Elliot isn't streams regularly, and I've seen him in other people's stream. Hi, Liquid. I've seen him like stop by like Salty Mike stream. I've seen him stop by other people's streams. Like, you're slow, I see. But like, am I the only one that feels that at times there's this disconnect between the devs and the player base, in the sense that like, and I get it, when you're working on something and you get excited about it and you're passionate about what you're doing, you see it maybe as bigger than what others may see it as. But I mean, in this case around the events, like, maybe it's just fatigue on my end as a player, having dealt with a lot of this. And that's a very good point that you make, Liquid Sky. This is promotional material, so they have to seem kind of upbeat and like, oh no, this is great for anyone coming in and watching this for the first time and who hasn't actually experienced the verse. So I do absolutely understand a certain component there, but it's just kind of frustrating to watch as a current player, because it's like, I really want to get into your stories. I want to know what they are, but I don't see them. They don't affect my gameplay. And that's what affects my gameplay, is whether I can open an elevator or not, is if I can get out of my hangar, being booted out in the middle of nowhere when somebody, you know, lands in a hangar with me. Those things, those definitely take center stage in my experience. And I did a lot of space. I did a lot of the cargo stuff. I did, you know, the problem is anything that you did on, so here's what's really funny. I was watching Morphologist's video yesterday about how he's no longer going to do events. And It was so funny because there's a moment where he's describing how only one type of mission worked for him, and I thought it was so funny because he's saying that the only things that worked for him were ground missions, which is the opposite for me. Ground missions never worked once for me. I could never complete a single one. I could never find all the people. I could never finish it off. So it's also just kind of like reiterating the fact that in Star Citizen, not everybody has the same experience. Me too. Only asteroid bases. Yeah, I had to do a bunch of those. So that's where it's like it's a little funny, you know. I think you take it with humor over anything else, but it's like there's a little bit of a disconnect. It leaves me with a little bit of a smile, I'll say. All right, enough talk. Let's keep going.
Band of mercenaries led by a woman called Amelia, who wanted to start an attack in Stanton to drum up hate for Pyro so that she could get the backing of regular people to go and attack Pyro.
But that also included civilians, and that also included gangs who had no interest in threatening Stanton at all.
So this was a false flag operation.
Yes, this was a false flag operation.
And you fell for it.
No one fell for anything. I'm so sorry to disappoint you. I hope that in the future this all comes across better, but no.
You fell for it.
They fell for it.
They fell
but
for it.
you named a maniac after yourself.
I didn't do that. Haddock did that.
So our next chapter in March is called Supply or Die. This is split into 3 parts of the event. This is where the CFP and the Headhunters are coming off half the heels of the invasion of the Frontier Fighters, and they're trying to resupply and rebuild to continue the efforts of attacking the Frontier Fighters. This event is essentially a one-shot. You have to play it in March, and when the next patch drops after that, you won't be able to play it again or earn the rewards. With this narrative arc that we're doing for the rest of this year, we're really trying to build these moments in our history where you as the player will come in and experience it, and then if you was here for it, great. But if you wasn't, you've missed out.
For this
FOMO, everybody. FOMO. Buy now. Give money. Open wallets. Spend, spend, spend.
event, there are 6 new locations that we built, 1 on each of the major planets in Pyro. These locations are
Big
discoverable by
inside.
quantum marker, and at these locations you will find these outlaw depots. The difference between an outpost and a depot is that an outpost is generally a lot larger in size. There's various things to do at an outpost. It's like a little community that kind of is in one way or another self-sufficient. A depot is really just an offshoot storage location. So in that sense, it doesn't have all the amenities for a local population or for the player as well. It's more of like an offshoot location in that sense.
The depots see the return of the scavengers, the circus essentially. It was introduced with the Ghost Arena.
What you just said there, Stavo, is absolutely insane. I have to agree with you there, having a story, because it's, for me, the biggest thing is the in-game rewards and no longer the buy ship now before it gets nerfed. Yeah, and what Stavo just said, that's insanity. Like, it's a lot. That's a lot. And yes, the situation has been bad with the bugs. And I mean, there was a point a month ago where I just kind of stopped playing for almost 2 weeks. Should have bought the Corvette. Corvette would have been an even bigger money sink, if I'm being honest. Just tires and brakes, you know, or just tires every year is pretty much the cost of an Idris. The little build model. The Hot Wheels? Yeah, the Hot Wheels. All right, let's keep going.
So this is not a faction we've seen much about, but it's a faction that we can identify by green text and spray paints on the buildings.
So as you go around the environment, you'll see that they've tagged it, and they'll be saying you can get big money here and go here and go here. This is where you buy it. Look out here, take cover here. The location is one that they've taken over, and they've added their unique twist to it.
The outlaw depots I think are really cool from a player perspective through the way that it's a location that is really built for the interaction. It provides a lot of cover. It's located in a more convenient, accessible way. It has very clear, distinct sections, so that helps hopefully as well for the players to kind of call out where the different people are coming from or where they are located. So it's a high risk, high reward location that is really built for PvP. There is an initial population at the location, so if you're the first there to show up, you might be a little bit careful. If you're gonna land in the middle, might be a little bit hot, but that's the right challenge that we're trying to provide for you guys.
Okay, so hold up. This is what I want.
That's the right challenge that we're trying to provide for you guys.
This, okay, so to answer what Belgian just said, he's like, yeah, doing it for 10 hours to get 200K. So the payouts are changing, all right? And they're changing in a big way. So you can see here, 2 million for medium resupply, 5 million for a large, 5 million for a medium, 24 million for a large resupply. This is going to be org level or, 5 to 10 person group stuff to do. You're not doing this solo. You're not doing this with just one buddy. Maybe if it's an empty server, shard, whatever. But these payouts are now finally starting to drive more group play just by the rewards, I think. Hopefully. Or at least that's the impression that I'm getting when I look at this. So I really do hope that it actually does help us want to play together, create groups, have more people trying to engage with each other in global, stuff like that. Because, I mean, look at this. 24 million? That's crazy. We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything close to 2 million or 5 million either. Or 3 million. We've never seen anything like that. 225K was used to be like, wow, that's a great payout. Now that's kind of going to become basic, I feel like. For those who do play with orgs, this is kind of interesting. It cost 18 million in materials though. Okay, so that's a good point. If you have to spend the money to get the materials to them, that's different. That's not as cool. Okay. Because if you've got to go buy the Letiredd and then deliver it, that's crazy. Okay, I got to keep going. I'll stop talking.
One of the first
What's up,
missions
Dex?
requires you to get a commodity called Letiredd, and there's a mission for CFP and Headhunters. This commodity requires you to go to these depots where you have to invest your own money to get this Letiredd and return it to either faction that you decided to go with. Letiredd is a rare plant that they can refine, so the CFP can use it for medical purposes, and the Headhunters can use it for more fun purposes.
Elliot came over to the economy area and said, hey, I've got some new missions we're building, and they're a little bit different from some we've done before. So we worked together to come up with a fairly new reward structure specifically for these new missions.
The idea as well is that if you've completed this mission series and you've got your reward, you can just keep going. You can sell these commodities in the sandbox world and get quite a big profit margin. But again, your risk is you have to put up your own money, put in your own time, and risk your own life.
Okay. All right. I should have watched further. All right, now I'm on the fence. I'm going to have to think about this. I did see stuff about the roadmap. I didn't watch anything about this, but I did watch a couple things about the roadmap today. Look, as long as we can get the game in a functional state where we're not worried every 2 seconds about getting into an elevator or trying to get into a hangar or trying to team up and party up or quantum, if we can get past that, I think that's a huge hurdle, and maybe people will start to calm down a little bit. I still maintain that even if we were to fix all the bugs, you'd go through the content so quickly, and that rep grind is super annoying. So you're going to get tired out pretty fast unless you're playing with large groups. And then it takes on another dimension. It's different levels of fun. Can you imagine losing 18 million in cargo due to bugs, not even PvP, and you also have to worry about that? I would rather lose stuff to PvP than to bugs, features. Because at least it means I'm playing the game and not fighting bugs. I would much rather, you know, spend 2 hours playing and trying stuff and fighting and eventually losing. That would still be a 2-hour gameplay experience. Spending an hour trying to join up with your friends because everybody's going through different issues, from elevator hangar, ASOP terminal issues, ship bugs, not spawning ships, invisible stuff. Like, yeah, if we could get past that, that'd be huge already. We need more sandbox options, but yeah, just the game working is priority. Falling through the floor at Brio's last 30 million? Ouch. That's a lot of, that hurts. That was a lot of Weevil legs. Alright, let's keep going.
For the mining mission, again, both factions will require you to get 2 commodities. So they require you to get ice, which can be found on the extremities of the Pyro solar system, so as far out from the sun as you can where it gets colder. Or tin, which is found closer to the sun, that can be stolen, bought, or mined and refined yourself. However you wish to get these, they don't care, they just want the commodity. And then you'll have a destination where you're asked to drop them off. And last is the salvage mission. The salvage mission is asking for RMC, so that's hull scraping, or construction materials, so that's the actual structural salvage part where you have to fracture the ship. And again, both factions are asking for it and they both have their own drop-off points. How you get the salvage is, again, up to you. You can kill ships and harvest their corpse. You could accept the salvage missions and use those ships, or you could just fly about and attempt to find the salvage panels. The event is both PvP and PvE. It takes place in Pyro, so you've always got to have your wits about you. The Letiredd one that takes place at the outposts will have more of a PvP element because it's going to have more reward for people who are PvPing. The mining and salvage one are introduced for more industrial players, more PvE. There's not much you really need to do here PvP-wise, but again, you're in Pyro, keep your wits about you because you never know who's going to turn up.
The thing that's unusual about these missions is that they're designed to encourage group play. There's nothing stopping you doing it solo. You can absolutely do it solo, although obviously in Pyro you have to take appropriate precautions if you're playing solo. But each of these missions, if you can get together a group of friends to help out, you will probably find that it will be more successful.
Did you unfix that terrible fix that you did last patch?
The initial design of EVR has been fairly successful, but it definitely has areas it needs to be improved with, and one of those areas is enabling group play instead of suppressing group play. And the design intention is to move away from reward splitting.
No, stop.
So
Why? What? No, stop reward splitting. Stop it. Just stop. Or no, keep reward splitting. Don't stop it. That's so frustrating. We want to grow and gain as a group. If you add a layer of, yeah, you can do everything as a group, but like then like there's a guy who's like the accountant and he's going to decide how much everybody gets, then they're going to have to pay taxes, and so he's going to have to figure out, no, stupid. I'm sorry, I don't like it.
With that in mind, we're taking steps towards that, and these missions and the way that the rewards are structured for these missions is a good indication of that design intention.
So with all this, the mission reward system is changing, right?
The rewards that you will get will scale with the size of the group that we expect for each mission. So the small missions are designed for solo players, the medium missions are designed for around 4 to 5 to 6 players, and the large missions are designed for 10 and above players. And in subsequent patches, the rewards will scale dynamically to the group that you have. And depending on the mission type that you're doing, whether it's the salvage or the mining or the Letiredd, your rewards will scale accordingly. Bear in mind that for the Letiredd missions, you have to put up the money to buy the commodity, and you will be rewarded enough to compensate you for what you've bought and a little bit extra. The other thing to bear in mind is that all of these missions have a secondary reward mechanic, which is that you are working to get tickets so that you can get the unique rewards, which you can only get during this mission, during this month, and then they will never be offered again.
It's like the redemption at Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't understand the reference, but okay.
I'm an American lost in Britain.
Yeah. They can't. Learn from the other larger MMOs that are making certain mistakes. Um, Dynamically scaling to your group, okay, sure, no problem. I'm curious how that's going to be implemented. And what I mean by that is, like, are we going to just have like people inviting everyone on the server to be in their group, and just going and like having 5 of them only going in to do the mission? Is that what's going to happen? I don't want there to have to be one person responsible for paying everybody out. Like, let us just all share. Like, just share. Just learn how to share. Super straightforward principle. And yeah, if one of the things that used to drive me crazy with World of Warcraft was like, you'd be 5 people, grinding a dungeon just to get certain pieces of an armor set. And if there was like 2 or 3 people trying to do the same thing, it was a nightmare. Except quest share for free 10k. Exactly. You're gonna just see that mission, that message everywhere, and it's not. I don't think that's the way to go.
Why does this matter? With our plans for this whole year of more of a content-driven releases and more of a narrative storyline, as Dave previously talked about with the A and B stories, the idea is that these missions will tie into that. The side that you choose to work with will have a lasting impact. The choices you make will define the universe that you live in. And the really cool thing about Supply or Die is because of the 3 different mission types we offer you, you can get all of the rewards without ever firing a shot. And that's really exciting.
Is it though? Is it?
And as one chapter of the continuing fight for Pyro closes, another begins with Alpha 402 Supply or Die. But if you didn't get a chance to finish the February missions, we've extended them through to the end of March. So there's still time to choose your allegiances and secure the future that Pyro deserves. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week on Star Citizen Live.
No funnies. So disappointing. Okay, so clearly a bit of a disconnect in what they think they're achieving and what we're experiencing. First of all, bring back the beard, Jared, and bring back the funnies. The more of these ISCs I watch and the more I react to them with all of you and I hear your input and what I kind of think through, the more I realize, some of this sharing information is good and bad. Information is good because you know it's coming, but it can be bad because you create this idea potentially about it that may not be the reality once you have it in game. A part of me thinks CIG just needs to stop talking and just buckle down and get stuff out to us and working. But at the same time, I do really appreciate the semi-open, translucent, mostly opaque communication. That's a good point, Scott. The problem is, to a certain extent, it's great because you kind of know what to expect. You know what's coming. You can get excited about it if it's something that interests you, but it can also work the opposite way. And if you think it doesn't sound right, or if you think it sounds incomplete, or if you just don't like the concept, then, well, that can push you away from the game. So I think that's a gamble they're constantly taking. I'm kind of just like whatever with the whole lore, and because it's just not. If you're struggling to get into a hangar, if you're struggling to get into an elevator and out of an elevator, more importantly, if you're struggling to complete a mission, are you really going to spend that much time looking for details around said contract, mission, whatever it may be? No, you're just happy that you were able to complete it and you want to move on to the next one before it breaks or you fall through the planet. I love lore too. I love story. I love background. I love immersion, but it's like, unless I'm watching the Astropub, I'm not really getting my lore from the game at all. Because the emotion most of the time associated with CIG is frustration. Why do I want to go onto their website to go diving through the vaults and looking up all this stuff? I don't. There was a time where I did, when I was more starry-eyed and everything was awesome, but as you kind of get beat down by the features and the lengthy development, I think naturally your excitement around that stuff kind of diminishes. But you know, to go back to the ISC itself, it wasn't about ISC. It was interesting to kind of see at least what they think is going to happen, or how they see it in their minds. Now, I do hope that it all plans out the way they see it. I hope that they achieve their vision and we enjoy it. Am I convinced? No, but it's just just from experience. That's the experience talking. With that, thank you everybody for watching my react. This will be up on YouTube very shortly, tonight or tomorrow morning. With that, let's what should we do? Or apathy? No, apathy is a good one too. Yeah, it's just kind of just general disinterest. Like just Can I play it now? Can I do this thing I've been wanting to do for months, but that's never worked? No? Okay, I'll come back later. And that's a lot of people's mentality. And when you go through the comment sections on so many Star Citizen content creators on YouTube, you see people are just like, I came back for this patch, I got excited hoping it would work, nothing worked, I'll be back in a year. Or like, I'll wait for Squadron 42. Or, you know, or like what Stavo said, is like, how can I dump so much money into a game and you guys seem to just not be respecting the player experience? And I think for me, that's what it kind of sums down to, is the player experience is not good right now. And if the player experience is bad, we're not going to naturally go tell people, hey, this thing's awesome, come join us. So you're not going to get people coming in. It's harder for content creators, streamers, whatever, or just general players to convey excitement to the people around them, to want to bring them back into the game. It just creates a really bad downward trend. And I'm really hoping that CIG can kind of turn that around right now, because even though from what I last looked at like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, what the numbers were saying for January, it doesn't seem that spending has kind of dipped, that revenue for them has dipped, but we'll see what it's like after February and the Heartseeker debacle, which we're not going to go into, but there was some drama around paints and stuff that weren't properly represented in the store. Anyways,